All right, welcome back and to our continuing coverage or our special coverage of Desisyon ng Bayan 2019. And of course, I have with me Mr. Don Orozco, our Silicon Valley correspondent, our very special guest, and our business correspondent, Cesar Vallejos. And of course, Cesar will introduce our very, very special guest. Cesar.
Yeah, we have a special guest as our resource person tonight for Desisyon ng Bayan 2019. And we're very privileged to have with us the chairman of AGNP and also the director in charge of various PCCI committees, Mr. Joey Levise. Thank you for coming to the show, sir.
Thank you,
Welcome,
sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Alma.
So, it is as if this is a parang gasolina, no? We have a special guest, we have a regular anchor, and I am the unleaded one. Anyways,
yes, sir.
Actually, the reason why we also wanted to invite you and know your insights, sir, is of course being one of the leaders in Philippine business because of your involvement with PCCI and other corporations. Is the impact of the elections in the national in the economic situation in the Philippines? There was, of course, the target is about 6 to 7%. But when we learned of the latest figures in the first quarter of the year, that's about 5.6, which is somehow disappointing according to some sectors, because when you compare that to last year's GDP performance on the same period, that's about 6.5. Can we still catch up, sir? What's the impact of the Philippine elections in the Philippine economy?
Well, it depends on what the election results will be. And I've seen the initial trends. The initial trends look good. And, you know, businessmen want stability. Businessmen don't want noise. And I believe in suffrage. I believe in democracy. But there is also such a thing as responsible opposition, as is needed, you know, to move our country forward. So I'm personally glad that the elections are over. I hope we can get through the counting very quickly. And I hope the people accept the mandate, especially at the national level. When I say the national, the Senate. I myself am pleased to report to you, I just came straight from Batangas.
Yes.
I voted this afternoon.
How was it, sir, over in Batangas?
Batangas is quiet. But Batangas is a very peaceful province, one of the top provinces in the country, about number 8 in the number of votes. And we come from the region, which next to Metro Manila has the greatest number of votes. And I voted in Barangay San Roque, in the municipality of BAYAN, in Batangas, which coincidentally is the home municipality of our governor, our gubernatorial candidate, Governor Dodo Mandanas, who I expect will win overwhelmingly.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Go ahead.
No,
please,
go ahead. You first.
Okay. So, we were also talking with the PCCI chairman, George Barcelon, earlier, and he said, kayang-kaya pa daw yung 6 to 7%. Is this also, you know, your view that in the next quarters, makakahabol yung ekonomiya and to reach the 6 to 7% GDP target?
Yes, I believe, I agree with Chairman George Barcelon on that. That's doable, but let's also think about 5.6. No, we are all worried about 5.6 because we have all been, just to use the reverse, used to 6.5 growth rates. You know, 5.6 is very, very good if you come from Europe.
Okay.
5.6 maybe is not too good if you're compared to India, if you're compared to China, if you're compared to Vietnam. Or some other economies in our region, but 5.6 is very good. Unfortunately, we could have done the opposite. We could have done 6.5 easily, except the budget was delayed. And that's the main reason, because the national government cannot allocate funds if the budget is non-existent. And so I hope that the new Congress, I say Congress because the Senate and the House have to work together, become more supportive of the President Rodrigo Duterte, and his economic team,
Yes.
so that, then, like George Bercelon said, our chairman in PCCI, we can do 7. And so that's really up to us. And unfortunately, that 5.6 is self-inflicted wound. That's inflicted to us by the legislative impasse on the budget.
The way I see it, this midterm election will actually be a referendum, kinda, to President Duterte's
On President Duterte's
performance. And if the people will really support him, I see most of his candidates that he actually supported will actually end up winning, and the direction of the president is something that where we will actually go to.
Yes, I agree with you. The president became the issue because of the opposition. And when you make the president the issue, and the president wins overwhelmingly, that means the president has a mandate. And this means that the 79% rating is not just a survey, it's actually reflected in the votes, especially on the national level.
You're referring to the satisfaction rating?
Yes,
That's
of the
what you mean.
president, yes.
So this, yeah, okay, go.
So I think, you're right, that the president has become the issue of this election, so it became a referendum on him. And if his candidates win overwhelmingly,
So are
How
you
do you
saying
interpret
that the popularity of the president goes down to the candidates as well?
oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
It will be reflective.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And being a part of PCCI, there's a lot of government, business organizations that are actually existing here in the Philippines. PCCI, though, is the largest, the biggest one,
The voice.
and it is the voice of the business sector. How does the PCCI support? Is it supportive of the initiatives of the president?
For the most part, yes. Because PCCI is a business organization. It's a pro-business organization. We're not a political organization. Now, we are all Filipinos. I exercise my right of suffrage, and I voted in Batangas, as I said, in Barangay San Roque, Municipality of Buon, Batangas, and I had my ticket. I supported the Vice Governor of Governor Mandanas, who coincidentally is my nephew, Mark Leviste, and then supported, the governor's candidates because we are allied to him, our congressman in our district, who, by the way, is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Congressman Rani Abu. But, Batangas is able to move because the province is united. Sure, there are voices of opposition too, but, it's very civil, it's very organized, and it's done in a very professional way. And I think that certainly a opposition candidate winning is welcome. And based on the latest surveys, I saw Senator Bam Aquino was the one closest to the Magic 12, and he's certainly been a good senator, and I'd have no problem with seeing him back to the Senate. But to expect that 8 candidates of the opposition would win, and that might be a little difficult to fathom at this point of the game.
All right, okay. On that note, sir, let's toss over to Sam Cepeda for some headlines. Sam?
Thank you, Alma. The Philippine National Police has ruled the blasts in Maguindanao and Cotabato were not election-related. In a press conference, PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde said those behind the blast in Dato Odin, Sinsuat, Maguindanao around 1 a.m. and in Cotabato City at 7:10 a.m. merely wanted to make themselves known. The blast in Dato Odin came about 3 hours after two rifle grenades fired from a distance exploded some 20 meters away at the back fence of the Cotabato City Hall, about 40 kilometers away from here. There were no reported victims in the Datu Odin Sinsua town and Cotabato City blasts. Albayalde believes the incidents were meant to scare people. The Armed Forces of the Philippines lauded the Filipino people for the peaceful conduct of the midterm elections as polling precincts closed at 6 p.m. on Monday. The AFP congratulates Filipino people for the successful conduct of the national and local elections 2019 and their peaceful exercise of their right to choose our leaders who will continue to plot the future of our country. A very minimal breach of peace and order was monitored and reported from all over the country, said AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Noel De Toyato in a message to the Philippine News Agency or PNA. While there were last-minute attempts to disrupt the conduct of elections, De Toyato said these were immediately addressed by government security forces. De Toyato also assured that the security efforts remain in place to protect the transfer of election and paraphernalia to the canvassing centers. The official canvassing of overseas votes for the Philippine midterm election in New Zealand begins. Here's Roxanne Rosquita for the details.
The official canvassing of overseas votes for the Philippine midterm election 2019 in New Zealand has begun. At exactly 10 in the evening, New Zealand Standard Time, or 6 in the evening, Philippine Standard Time, at the heart of the capital city, Wellington, at 50 Hobson Street, Thorndon, where the Philippine Embassy is currently located. The Special Board of Canvassers lead the counting of votes. Philippine Ambassador to New Zealand Jesus Domingo, who is the chairman of the Special Board of Canvassers, said in his speech that New Zealand had higher registered voters compared to other countries with larger Filipino community.
We are very proud that we have actually more registered voters than some countries with a higher overseas Filipino population. So we have 60,000 Filipinos here, and we've had registered 19,970 overseas Filipinos had registered, and which is quite higher than the last time, which was about, let me just check my 9,470 in the 2016 election. So the overseas vote is something that we overseas Filipinos had really campaigned and fought for. So it's great that we have now this chance to properly tally through the canvassing these votes. So every vote counts, and then again, it's how we can tangibly support our democracy, our rights, and our freedom, even though we're overseas.
Mr. Domingo hopes for the smooth conduct of this canvassing until all the votes are counted in. With the help of the officers from the Philippine Foreign Service Post, he expects it to finish by the end of tomorrow. Also in his speech, he declared his confidence that the Filipino community in New Zealand can make history tonight as they exercise their freedom to vote. From Wellington, New Zealand, this is Roxanne Rosquita. I am one with Net 25.
And we continue to monitor our kababayans abroad regarding the Philippine elections. Let's get an update in Japan. As our EBC correspondent Tyra Lu reports, Filipinos there share different views of their perception on the Philippine elections. Tyra?
Just 3 days prior to the closing of the ballot boxes at the Philippine Embassy in Tokyo, some Filipinos here in Japan have expressed their views about their country's elections, not only on the current midterm polls, but the Philippine election in general. Most, if not all, Filipinos we have talked to said they want to vote and participate in the election, expressing their eagerness to submit their ballots by post-mail.
Sa aking palagay po, kailangan ko pong bumoto para po sa ating bayan. at sa pakikipagkaisa po sa ating tagapamahalang pakalahatan. Manalo man po sila matalo, sa aming tungkulin po ay kailangan po namin tuparin at sundin ang kautusan. Ngayon po, dahil po sa kapakanan ng ating bayan, kailangan ko pong bumoto.
Sa tingin ko okay naman, maganda naman kasi nasa ayos naman yung boboto ng mga Pilipino. Sa tingin ko, makakount naman at makakarating sa Pilipinas.
However, despite their willingness to vote, some of them were hesitant and discouraged due to past experiences that led them to mistrust in the COMELEC and how the country's voting officials gather the ballots, especially from those abroad.
It was announced here that we will vote, but I thought to myself, it's useless. When it reaches the Philippines, they'll lose our votes. It's such a waste. We have our candidate, but our votes won't be counted because it's lost. This is the usual case, isn't it?
Ang sa akin naman, dahil nandito tayo sa bansang Japan, ewan ko lang kung talaga makakarating yung voters natin doon sa Pilipinas. O pagdating sa embassy, Philippine Embassy, kinip na nila yun, dinaya na. Kasi unfair naman kasi yung nakaraan, di ba? Nawala yung mga vote ng mga iglesia. Okay? Marcos ba? Kay Bong? Parang sa akin, ayoko.
Notwithstanding these adverse reactions, some Filipinos also believe their votes do matter and count a lot for the benefit of all their countrymen in the Philippines and for the country as well.
Sa palagay ko po, makakatulong po ito para sa kaunlad ng ating bayan at ikatatahimik. Kung ang binoto ko po ay isang mabait na tao at makakatulong po sa ating bayan.
Mahalaga kasi diyan nakasalala yung ating kapakanan ng ating mga kababayan na Pilipino at saka yung bansa natin, yung Pilipinas, para umangat naman at gumanda na yung magiging buhay nating mga Pilipino.
According to the official website of the Philippine Embassy in Tokyo, the month-long election in Japan started on April 13th and will end on Monday, May 13th. Since last month, many Filipinos, particularly those registered voters, have already received their ballots in their mailboxes.
Actually, pinapadalan sila ng mga envelope na merong balota. Tapos pipilatan mo yun, tapos papadala mo sa Philippine Embassy. Sabi nila, galing ng Philippine Embassy, dadalhin daw yun sa Pilipinas.
Nakatanggap rin po ba kayo?
Nakatanggap po ako.
So, anong plano niyo po? Magbo-vote po kayo?
May plano ako magbo-vote.
Dahil sa ginawa po nila sa akin pagpapadala ng mga papel, ay kailangan ko daw pong pirmahan o kahit hindi na po pirmahan kung talagang nais nyo pong bumoto. Hindi naman po sa pilitan.
Paano po yun? I-mail po sa...
Kailangan pong email yun pagka pinirmahan na po ninyo yun. Ibalik po agad sa Philippine Embassy.
If they are to vote, these ballots should be filled out with the names of the candidates they will be voting for and should be signed before sending them back to the Philippine Embassy by postmail. And as for the percentage of participating voters in Japan, we will find that out next time. That's all for now. Reporting from Tokyo, Japan, this is Tyranel Pilyulu for Eagle News International. I am 1 with 25.
Meanwhile, our EBC correspondent Tyra Lu was able to talk to the Philippine ambassador to Japan, Ambassador Joey Laurel, and Eduardo R. Meñez, chairman of Special Board of Canvassers.
Now we are here at the Philippine Embassy here in Tokyo, and with us now is Miss Maya Cruz, is that right? She just submitted her ballot, so now let's ask her what her perceptions about the Philippine elections are. So please tell us your perception, your ideas about the Philippine election in general, or to be specific, the midterms election. You can answer in Tagalog.
ang aking perception about our election in the Philippines, ever since we know that ang ating election ay mayroong pagkakataon na nasa kaguluhan. Pero sinisikap ng mga mamamayang Pilipino, lalo na itong mga candidates para sa eleksyon na maging maayos, maging honest, at maging mapayapa ang ating eleksyon.
Since you really took the time to be here, did you skip work?
Yeah.
So why do you think it is important to be here and cast your vote?
Since we have the right as a Filipino in our country especially na bumoto para sa ating bansa, sa mga taong nararapat na mailuklok, sapagkat sa atin nakasalalay, sa ating mga mamamayang Pilipino na sa ating pagboto at pag-elect sa kanila, nakasalalay ang maaaring maging malaking pagbabago ng ating bansa. Kaya yung karapatan natin at right natin bumoto ay napakahalaga na bigyan natin ng importansya at panahon para ito ay isagawa.
So how do you feel po that even though you are here in Japan, you're away from the Philippines, so you are still given the right to vote through absentee voting?
Yeah. Biyaya ng na tayo ay nabigyan ng pagkakataon dito sa abroad na tayo ay makaboto despite na tayo ay malayo sa ating bansa. Kaya yun din ang aming pinagpapasalamat dahil yung karapatan namin bilang overseas, absentee voting, hindi na walang halaga. Kaya kailangan din nating mag-effort at magbigay ng panahon para tayo makaboto.
Thank you so much for your time, Ms. Maya.
Thank you, Tyra. I'll bring you back now to Alma, Don, and Cesar, together with our guest, Mr. Joey Levice, Chairman of AGNP. Guys, take it back.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, Sir Joey, earlier we've seen the reports from New Zealand and also Japan. So my question is globalization. You know, can you talk about the foreign policy of this government? And we of course hear about the trade tensions. These are the external headwinds that the Philippines are facing. So what's your take about this globalization and with the external headwinds, including our relationship with China and US? Will the Philippines benefit from this all?
Well, the Philippines will have to play its cards with the new geopolitical reality. And this has been historical when there is a rising power like China and there is a dominant power like the United States. It's like Athens and Sparta. Eventually, they will conflict.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing this in the trade sphere. Now, I think we are fortunate to have a president and a government which is looking this not from a bilateral point of view, but from a multilateral point of view, that we are now trying to develop an equidistant foreign policy.
Yeah.
We're not just an ally of the US. We also want to make friends with our neighbors, China. We're a strategic ally of Japan. And we are a strategic ally of the Australians.
And Russia.
And Russia has now become a friend, no?
Yes.
And so this is the creative and innovative foreign policy of President Duterte. And I realize some of our countrymen are a little nervous about that. But if you think about it, the real concern is not Chinese investments in the Philippines. The real concern is Chinese coming to the Philippines, working in the Philippines, setting up restaurants only for the Chinese, with menus in Chinese, which Filipinos cannot go to. But that can be managed. You know, the Chinese embassy should take the lead and, and moderate this, for lack of a term, chauvinism, if you will. But that does not prevent us from addressing economic issues. Now, I know that the next question will be, what about the West Philippine Sea?
Yeah.
Well, the West Philippine Sea has been a historic problem, and I remember that President Aquino Corazon met Chairman Deng Xiaoping at that time, and Deng Xiaoping basically said, let's address this and let future generations address the issue. So I think our focus should be in economic. I'm certainly in favor of a stronger military capability. I'm fully supportive of, a strong military. But we must also be pragmatic, no?
Okay.
And, do the best we can in developing our country quickly. One issue, the Chinese debt trap. That's
Yes.
that's assumes that the Philippine government, that the economic team, the Secretary of Finance, the Governor of the Central Bank, the Secretary of Trade and Industry, the Secretary of Economic Planning, do not anticipate these problems. They certainly do. Why? Because we borrow from the World Bank, we borrow from the ADB, I don't know how much we borrow from the AAIB, we borrow from Japan, we'll borrow from the US if the US will fund us, we'll borrow from the EU if they'll fund us. So, we are not locked to one source of development assistance or development loans. And we are a strong economy, in spite of the 5.6, and like I said earlier, that's self-inflicted, so I'm comfortable with the president's leadership. I'm comfortable with the economic team of what they want to do. And I fully support the train law and other variations that are coming of the train law because, this is the only way to support internally our Build program and, generate employment and investments in our country.
Let's go back to the elections then, sir. Earlier you saw our bureaus and their overseas voting over there. How do you think their votations over there, their voting over there would impact our elections here and the economy here?
Considering, before you answer, considering there's about 1.8 million na total absentee voting that we are actually expecting.
Yes, yes. Very good point. Excellent point. I was going to say that, first of all, the overseas reports, and we have had New Zealand and Japan, are a function of big provinces and small provinces. There's obviously more Filipinos, mas maraming Filipinos sa Japan kaysa sa New Zealand.
Yes.
Ganyan ang pagkakataon eh. Okay? And ang factor, mas maraming Filipinos sa Hong Kong kaysa Slovakia, for example. No? So, and this 1.8 are mainly in the US, mainly in
Middle East countries,
Middle Eastern countries.
Middle East countries, yeah.
So, but if they all vote, and they're probably independent of one another, no? Dahil hindi naman pinupunta ng mga political leaders yan, nakakampanya dyan. And so, I would say that they are going to be a major factor in 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The lowest three winners and the top three losers, maapektuhan ng overseas. Okay? So, in a close election, that's a very major factor. But it's not going to affect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think, and I may be wrong. But
historically, with that 1.8, what's the turnout in the past elections? How many percent, are really voting coming from the overseas?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know, and I hate to admit that because, frankly, the turnout I'm interested in is Batangas.
And considering social media now, for the past 3 years, it is very hard to equate the numbers from the previous 3 years because the changes has been really big, and information technology for one has completely changed the ball game. That's why we really cannot equate. But then, halimbawa, kanya-kanya. Like for instance, sa US, there's about 300,000 in North America, but the turnout is always lower compared to,
to the other countries.
US and Canada. Sa Canada kasi, more or less, mas marami silang mga OFWs. Now, you go to the Middle East, mataas-taas yung ratio simply because binibigyan ng holiday ng mga employers itong mga OFWs natin to exercise the right to vote.
And the area is smaller. Ang Dubai is, relative to California, for example, Dubai is, including the other part of the Emirates, Qatar is also, Saudi Arabia relatively is, it's a vast country, but the population centers are mainly in Riyadh and in Jeddah. So, mas madaling mag-communicate mga Pilipino.
But you are completely correct when you said yung 10, 11, 12 will actually be determined by the
absentee voters. Yeah.
Again, it's a big number. It's 1.8, di ba? 1.8. Ilagay mo ng kalahati lang dyan ng bumoto. Pagka ang mga difference yung mga 200, 300, 500,000,
that's huge.
That's the time that these people will actually take over.
Okay. Okay, on that note, we'll take a break and we'll continue on with our very interesting conversation. We'll be back.
Health is our most important asset.
MTRCV ang mag-provide na appropriate ratings sa lahat ng TV shows. Para
is our most important asset, and it should always be a constant effort to seek ways to take care of it. That includes professional medical help from the best available. The Manila-Beijing Medical Associated Incorporated is known as one of the most specialized
All right, welcome back. Let's find out the latest official tally elections. For senators, we have Cynthia Villar with 93,660. We have Grace Poe with 83,258. Bongo, 73,786. Pia Cayetano, 72,105. Bato de la Rosa, 67,102. Edgardo Angara, 65,916.
And then from 7 to 12, Amy Marcos was number 7 at 65,816. Lito Lapid has 65,753. He's number 8. Number 9 is Francis Tolentino with 56,274. Number 10 is Nancy Binay at 55,616. Bong Revilla is at 11 with 53,528. And rounding up the Magic 12, it's Ejercito Estrada JV with 52,097.
Okay, we have Bam Aquino with 51,605. Tuloy na natin. And then Coco Pimentel with 51,017. Jingo Estrada, 43,508. Mar Rojas, 36,004. Serge Osmeña, 33,536. Doc Willie Ong, 27,399. Jiggy Manicad, 24,067. Dong Mangudadatu, ayan, 23,267. Chel Diokno, 23,165. Juan Ponce Enrile, 20,719. Gary Alejano, 16,811. And Neri Colmenares, 16,745.
So, pasok si Neri kung 24 ang kailangan. Di ba? Ang kaso, 12 lang ang kailangan.
So, Sir Joey, what's your reaction on the initial results?
Well, just on the first 6, Senator Cynthia Villar is a very hardworking senator. She's a very sincere senator. She's focused on the poor. She's focused on the agriculture sector. And that's why I'm not surprised she's number 1, no? And the Nationalista Party, which is their political party, is the second largest in the country. And that's why, and there was a little controversy over they're going to get the second tally sheet from the COMELEC. And the opposition was very critical of that. But they should check the laws and rules of the COMELEC because the report is to be given to the second strongest party with the most number of officers, elected officials. It is not a function of who is the most anti-government. Okay? But I don't want to get into that. But to me, the real surprise, the real winner, because if you, the 3 women, Villar, Po, 1, 2, and 4, and Pia, are all basically re-electionists. Pia is not directly coming from Senate, but she came from the Senate, and Alan Peter was in the Senate, and so Di Cayetano is a national brand name. To me, the 2 surprises are Bongo and Bato de la Rosa, because they're rating 3 and 5 on the sheer endorsement of the president.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, I mean,
So is that a key factor?
Well, to me, yes, because Bong is certainly a professional and a good member of the cabinet. Bato was a good PNP chief. But does that merit their being number 3 and number 5? Sure, they work hard, and Bong has got roots in Batangas. His mother is from Batangas.
Okay.
Yeah, kaya malakas si Bong sa Batangas.
Okay.
And really, this is very much indicative of the drawing power of the president.
Exactly.
Diba?
Exactly.
Can you just imagine, someone coming from the outside being pulled up high?
Yeah.
Diba? Because normally, in about several days, a few days from now, yung top 6 has always been first to be declared, and they're part of it. The way the trend is going to look like, I think they will be a part of it.
Yes.
Sir, before the elections, there are already proposed laws that were initiated that were put on hold. One example, of course, is Train 2, because you mentioned about Train earlier. So in Train 2, of course, we have the lowering of the corporate income tax from 30 to, I think, 20%. So being a member of PCCI, which is the voice of Philippine business, you think these new leaders will support that?
If the trend proceeds the way it is, Train 2 will have more support because obviously more administration candidates are going to win, no?
Yeah.
Now, but even within the administration, depending who chairs the various committees of the House and the Senate, there'll be internal discussions, no, of how far they'll go, no? And but I, in principle, am supportive of all the fiscal reforms being proposed by the Department of Finance, supported by NEDA, supported by Trade and Industry, the Government Central Bank, and the other economic departments, simply because we have to make our economy competitive with the rest of the world. That's
Correct.
all.
Sir, what can you say about surveys? Like, do they affect the candidates who will win? Do you think this is like a mind conditioning thing, these surveys that come out?
That's been a perennial question.
Yeah.
And it depends if you are in the winning list or you're not the winning list. If you're outside the winning list, you say Pulse Asia is false Asia. You know, but if you're in the winning list, it's okay with you.
Yeah.
So, pagkat kami tao lamang, you know, it's you know. But to me, the final survey is the survey today. Is the election results,
Agree.
no? And this initial pattern is very interesting. For example, I see number 7, Governor Amy Marcos. She was way below in the Pulse Asia. And by the way, just as a historical footnote, when her brother, Senator Ferdinand Marcos Jr., won in the Senate, he was also number 7, which is the lucky number of President Ferdinand Marcos.
Wow.
777.
I think the magic of the Kabataang Barangay Network, which Amy used to be chair, it did work wonders for her.
Yes.
You know?
And by the way, one factor, and it affects me too. I'm Ilocano, ninanang ko may isang Ilocana.
Okay.
Siguro po na mawatan ko ito Ilocano. She's from Abra. Oh. But the solid North votes for Ilocanos. Primarily the Marcoses, but not just the Marcoses. So that's a factor. And then Governor Amy, has the advantage of being a Waray. Her mother is from the Visayas. You know. And you know, that's a strong factor too.
Plus the support of the president.
Yes, of course, the president's support. Yes.
You are continuing to watch Eagle News live dito sa atin. Eagle News International. It's a combination of everything. And again, just to make it clear, that is Cesar Vallejos, and I am Don Orozco, because kasi naka-side view kami, pag nakikita niyo yung ulo namin, akin po yung shinier, si Don, ano po? And Mr. Jose Leviste here is from PCCI, and he continued to discuss, economic agenda of the President. But for now,
yes.
Let's
Go ahead.
toss to Sam for some updates on the news.
Thank you, Don. Filipinos in Russia troop to Philippine consulate to cast their ballots. Amy Coloma is at the scene.
Filipinos here in Russia trooped to the Philippine consulate to cast their ballots for overseas midterm elections. We got to talk to Ambassador Carlos Soreta and some OFW here.
Filipino community here in Moscow, Russia, cast their votes again 2 days before the May 13 midterm election. They excited and happy to vote. Some of our kababayan tried to come to vote even if their name was not on the Kamalek certified list. but they have voters' ID issued last year, and those who had registered in Hong Kong filled out the form of manifestation, so at least they will have 50-50 chance to wait the approval in Comelec, Manila to vote. Philippine Ambassador to Russia, Carlos Soreta, clarified that the rumors is not true that the ballots are not enough.
Gusto ko rin i-clarify uli na hindi kulang ang balota, na meron pong mga balota para sa lahat na gustong bumoto. Tsaka meron din pong nabalita na kulang yung mga forms o sheets na pinadala ng Comelec. Hindi ko totoo yan dahil kumpleto po ang aming mga documentation para mabilang at ma-record at mapadala sa Manila ang inyong botos.
Some of the OFW overseas Filipino workers are so excited to cast their votes, but for those who are waiting the approval from Comelec, this is what they had to say.
Meron pong procedure po ang Comelec dito na kailangan pong sundin. Bali, ang nangyari po ay nag-register po ako. For confirmation po, kailangan pong itawag sa Pilipinas. Makakapapayagan po ako na makapagboto dito. Hintayin po yung approval from Philippines.
Reporting from Moscow, Russia, this is Emmy Coloma and I'm 1 with 25.
Staying now in Russia, our EBC correspondent Sunshine Bumanlag tells us that the Philippine Embassy in Moscow, Russia prepared for an orderly 2019 election. Sunshine?
The Philippine Embassy in Moscow, Russia still open for absentee voting and will end until May 13 all over the world. Philippine Embassy in Moscow, Russia, orderly prepared in 2019 election. Voters' population in Moscow is higher than the other cities in Russia. Registered voters personally go to the Philippine Embassy to get their ballots and vote. There's also another method. Philippine Embassy use mail to send their ballots in their places. They also did outreach in different places like St. Petersburg, Kazakhstan, and Yakutsk. Bring ballots for them to vote. In addition, the number of voters in Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, and Moscow, as of now, 50% of registered voters participated in voting.
Super happy ako ngayon kasi finally nakabuto ako. So ito yung pruwiba na nakabuto po ako dito sa Moscow.
I am Sunshine Bumanlag, EBC Russia correspondent, and I am 1 with 25.
Let's get some reactions from Barcelona, Spain on how they perceive the Philippine elections. Our EBC correspondent Lynn Tumbaga Diaz is at the scene. Lynn?
The registered Filipino voters here in Barcelona, Spain cast their votes for the Philippine senatorial elections of 2019.
Many Filipino overseas voters participated in the Philippine national election 2019. Even outside the Philippines, Filipinos are allowed to vote as long as they are registered voters. In the process of overseas voting, the Commission on Election or COMELEC sends the ballot through mail. Each mail sent by COMELEC has ballot with a list of senators and party list, an envelope addressed to the Philippine Embassy in Madrid, Spain, and voter seal. The mail also comes with an instruction for voters. As soon as the voter receives the ballot, he can vote 12 senators and 1 party list. The voter has 2 options on sending the ballot. It can be done through sending via mail or submitted to the Philippine Consulate in Barcelona, Spain. There were cases when registered voters were not able to receive a ballot or cannot find their name on the list in the consulate. They were advised to call the Philippine Embassy in Madrid to check their names. The embassy will send a form through electronic mail to be filled up by the voter. The filled-up form will be sent back to the embassy with a copy of the voter's passport. As soon as the COMELEC approves the voter to have a ballot, he can go to the consulate and vote. The overseas Filipino voters showed their support to the Philippine government by taking part in the national election. Most of them made their way out of their busy schedules so they can vote. Many of them are optimistic that the election will result to a better future of our country.
Bilang Pilipino, karapatan ko na bumoto at makipagkaisa sa lahat ng mga Pilipino na gustong mabago ang ating bansang Pilipinas.
Dapat lang naman bumoto tayo para sa ating bayan, mga nakaupo sa mga senado, kahit na anong mga dapat lang tayong bumoto dahil kailangan natin yan kasi para
napakahalaga po na ang mga Pilipino dito sa abroad ay bumoto para sa senatorial elections. Alam niyo po kung bakit? Dahil nandito tayo sa malayo, at least kung meron man tayo na mga gustong iparating sa ating gobyerno, kailangan natin na humingi ng tulong sa mga senador. Sila po ang mga law-making body ng Philippines, at kung meron po tayong mga hinanaing na gusto nating maipabot sa gobyerno, ay kailangan po natin na lumuhog sa kanila. Ngayon, kung hindi po tayo buboto, paano natin malalaman kung sino ang ating mag-representative doon sa gobyerno? Ngayon kaya, mga kababayan, kung sino ang gusto ninyo na iboto na maging representante ninyo bilang mga imigrante sa ibang bansa, kailangan ipakita ninyo, ipaalam ninyo sa pamamagitan ng ating mga boto.
From Barcelona, Spain, I'm Dean Bautista Tumbaga Diaz, and I'm 1 with 25.
Thank you, Lynn. Meantime, we have a reaction from Louisa Leons from Brisbane, Australia.
How do you perceive the Philippine midterm election?
I'm Louisa Yelker Lyons. I think the midterm election will help the Philippine government to have better government officials.
Why do you think Filipino overseas vote counts?
It will definitely assist the Philippine government in all the reform they plan and future.
Thank you, Louisa. I'll take you back now to Alma, Don, and Caesar. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sam. All right.
So, Sir Joey, what are your latest insights on the results? Because we're getting a lot of feeds coming from our social media, and we see all young ones and the young ones.
Considering we're getting reports also from the local election results.
Yes, sir.
Particularly Metro Manila.
Yeah, and we're noticing some new blood coming in. So what's your
based on your information as well from your sources?
Well, I got a text from my sister, Karina Leviste Azores, and she was just telling me the races. No, in Makati it seems Abby's ahead. In San Juan, Francis is ahead. Francis Zamora.
In Manila.
In Manila, Isko is ahead. If her initial findings are correct, no?
Yeah.
And by sizable margins. So this to me signals that maybe the national trend is supportive of the incumbent government, whereas the I guess the local officials, have a generational change in mind, because Isko is definitely much younger than the former president.
Than the two opponents of his.
Of course, the Binay situation in Makati is an interesting thing, but that's a sibling thing. I don't know the politics of Pasig too much, but if the report is correct, then a young man is ahead of a established political dynasty, the Eusebios.
So this one is really changing as the political landscape as well.
The political landscape has been is changing. Simply because new blood. Actually, they're not new blood. They were like parang recycled.
A hybrid.
It's just that they've been running, but they were not making it. But this time, I think the trend has changed. It's really time for change.
And with that, sir, we would like to thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Sir
time and for your effort to come here and be with us. We are really so honored that you came here and be our special guest. Thank
and
you
we
so
hope
much.
that you can visit the other shows again.
Yes,
Net
yes.
25.
Yes.
We'll be looking forward
you.
to that. Thank you so much, and we'll be continuing on with our special coverage of the Desisyon ng Bayan 2019. We'll be right back.
Health is our most important asset, and it should always be a constant effort.
Celebrating its golden anniversary, Eagle Broadcasting Corporation has conducted various public service projects under the theme EBC Cares, Enabling a Better Community, representing its portals. Net 25, Radyo Aguila, Pinas FM, EagleNews.ph, EBC Films, and E25 Records. EBC spearheaded feeding programs. Citronella planting. Gulayan sa paaralan. Recyclas, using recyclable plastic residue to manufacture and produce school chairs. Visual storytelling for students. Cleanup drives. Blood donation programs. Livelihood seminars. Passport on Wheels and other public service programs in partnership with government agencies.
EBC Cares! EBC Cares! EBC Cares! EBC Cares! EBC Cares! EBC Cares!
EBC Cares! EBC Cares!
EBC Cares!
EBC Cares, enabling a better community.
Watch your favorite Net 25 shows on OSN channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Net 25 is now available on OSN, the largest entertainment network in the Middle East and North Africa.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows live
And on demand anytime, anywhere on
any mobile device on OSN Play.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Oropesa. I'm 1 with 25.
Hi, I'm Irman Lawan, and I'm 1 with 25.
Hey guys, behind me is what we call Bar de Fies, one of the most famous landmarks here in Stavanger, Norway. And if you want to see more of the tourist spots like this, just tune into Digital Nest every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 p.m. I'm managing Mihia from Stavanger, Norway, always fun with 25.
Asahan natin ang kakaunting pag-ulan sa bansa dahil sa El Nino. Kaya naman apektado ang supply ng tubig na siyang mahalaga sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. Sa pagtitipid ng tubig, makatutulong ito para mapagaan ang epekto ng El Nino. Narito ang ilang dapat gawin para makatipid ng tubig. Tiyaking laging nakasara ang mga gripo pagkatapos nating gamitin. Laging suriin ang mga tubo at kung may leak, ipakumpuni ka agad. Muling gamitin o mag-reuse ng tubig, ang mga pinaghugasan ng pinggan ay maaring ipambuhos ng palikuran. Gumamit ng batya sa paglalaba at kung may washing machine, tamang dami lamang ng sabon ang gamitin para di aksayado ng tubig sa pagbabanlaw. Sa pagligo, gumamit ng timba at tabo sa halip na mag-shower pa. Gumamit ng baso kapag nagsisipilyo ng ngipin. Gumamit din ng planggana kapag naguhugas ng pinggan, prutas at gulay. Maagang ilabas ang frozen food bago lutuin. Magdilig ng halaman tuwing umaga o hapon. Kapag naguhugas ng sasakyan, gumamit ng timba sa halip na water hose at basahan sa halip na sponge. Tandaan po natin, ang tubig ay mahalaga. Kailangan ang responsable at matalinong paggamit nito.
Para po sa mga viewers namin sa Middle East at sa North Africa via OSN, hello po sa inyong lahat dyan. Ako po si Nelson Lubaw at araw-araw po tayong nagkakasama sa Agila, Pilipinas. Dito po sa Net25 at OSN, siguradong at home ka dito.
will be having all new episodes very, very soon. We can't wait for all of you to join us again as we learn many, many things. We will have loads of fun learning new words and values as well. So, stay tuned to Net25 Kids every Saturday and Sunday, 8:30 to 9 a.m. only on Net25.
What's up, everybody? Just like snow in Las Vegas being a rare thing, so are opportunities in life. So whenever they come around, seize the moment. Tune into Digital Nest on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. only on Net25. I'm Ahmed Santos, your EBC correspondent, always one with 25. Peace!
Hello, Digital Nesters! Thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our...
All right, welcome back. And we continue to get more reactions and reports from our bureaus abroad. Sam, would you like to get this report?
Yeah. Okay. More reactions this time from Hawaii. 9-year-old overseas Filipino Mabel Hamilton from Hawaii stresses never to forget the right to vote.
Have you voted for Philippine elections, or is this your first time?
Oh, this is my first time. I just surprised because I just get from mail that I got those things that I have to do participate the election. This is my first time to receive since I came here in Hawaii.
And do you think it's important for Filipinos here in Hawaii to express their vote even though they're not in the Philippines?
Yes, especially if you are still Filipino citizen, because voting is very important for the election because it's a way to express or to get your own opinions, what is or who is the sufficient and effective leader.
All right, we have more updates, this time coming from our Macau Bureau. Filipinos trooped to the Philippine Consulate in Macau to vote. Here's our correspondent, Kit Wong.
Today is Macau government's holiday, and for the Filipino, it's 2019 national election.
Ahead of the month-long absentee voting in Macau, the consulate informed the Filipino community, especially the registered voters, on the voting period through social media platforms. The overseas absentee voting started last April 13 and ended on May 14. Thousands of Filipinos in Macau casted their votes, usually on weekends when it's their day off. The last week of the voting period has the most number of voters. Some voters gave positive feedback on the site absentee voting. The consul also shared her review on the May 2019 elections.
We're very glad that a lot of our kababayans have practiced the right to vote, and we hope that in the future this desire to participate in the election process continues. We hope that more people will actually arrive later on in the day.
It is a good privilege to vote here in Macau kahit wala kami sa Pilipinas, na exercise namin yung freedom namin to choose kung sino yung gusto naming leader na magpatuloy ng ginagawa ng presidente sa Pilipinas. We as OFW, we are expectant of great change in our country. So we are looking forward na kung ano man yung magiging result nitong botohan, magkakaroon ng magandang pagbabago sa bansang Pilipinas. At salamat dahil in 1 month we are able to exercise this freedom na kahit wala kami sa sariling bayan, nakakapagpili kami ng gusto naming ilagay sa posisyon para sa pamahalaan.
Ang kahalagahan ngayon sa araw na to na sa aking pagboto ay para sa kinabukasan ng ating mga anak at para maituloy ang pagbabago at para sa karapatang pangtao sa atin sa bayan, sa Pilipinas.
Napakahalaga ng midterm election dahil ito ay karapatan ng bawat Pilipino para bumoto, para mapalitan kung sino yung mga dapat palitan na hindi karapat-dapat sa katungkulan. Kaya inihikayat ko lahat ng mga Pilipino na lumabas ang araw na to ngayon para bumoto.
We have a Chinese here. We would like to interview her. Her name is Miss Zhang. So, Miss Zhang, what do you think that the Filipino citizens they are doing here today?
I know there are all workers who working in Macau, and today is the last day of the voting day to choose 12 candidates to form organization of senators in their country, so they can vote for their senators and to make great decisions in their country.
And how do you feel about that?
I think it's very convenient for them to vote even they are working abroad. Because they cannot go back to their country on the voting day, so it provides a very convenient way for them to care about their own country and to make great decisions also for their country. It's very the voting is a very free and very important thing for in their own life.
For the 2019 national midterm election in Philippines, many Filipino citizens here in Macau exercise their right to vote. Reporting for Eagle News, this is Kit Wong. I am 1 with 25.
We continue to receive reports. One of these is the overseas Filipino voter ballot validation and fitting continue at the Philippine Consulate General in Vancouver.
Overseas Filipino voter ballot validation and feeding continue here at the Philippine Consulate General in Vancouver, Canada.
The Philippine midterm elections are, of course, they're important because it will determine, our next set of representatives in Congress, and of course, doon natin makikita kung, it will be in support of the current administration or not. Well, the Filipinos overseas are an important force in the elections, which is why the government came up with overseas voters, the overseas voters law. So the intent was to involve and to enfranchise the Filipinos abroad. And we have already about 10 million of us strong in all over the world. So by giving them the opportunity to participate, we are giving them a voice in the elections.
Well, I'm a Filipino. Regardless kung nasaan ako, mahalaga yung boto ko, mahalaga na marinig ko yung gusto kong iparinig sa gobyerno at para sa Pilipinas. It's about the future, lalo na may kids na ako. I want them to see, when we go back to the Philippines, it's a better Philippines. That's why we vote. We have to go out and vote.
Here in Canada, we have what you call the automated elections. So everything will be mailed to us, and kami na ang magsasalang sa what you call counting machines or VCMs. And when you feed a ballot, a receipt will come out of the machine, which indicates the people that you voted, that the person voted. So yun naman ilalagay naman sa what you call a ballot box. So that is sealed every time we we close a voting counting time, and then we open it again the next time we feed for that particular precinct. And then at the end of the counting period, the machines are walang lumalabas dyan na hindi binoto ng tao. The only thing is that compared to in previous elections, sila mismo yung nag-feed, but this time kami. But we open the counting, the feeding of ballots every time to watchers, and we do it in a public area of the consulate, so everybody is free to observe the process, and we slice open the envelopes in front of everyone, so makikita na kung ano yung hinugot namin, siya ang i-feed, no? And then everything goes into boxes that we see afterward, yung tab na pinaglalagyan ng ballots when they fall from the counting machines, sinisil din yan. So everything is secured.
Parang magawa natin din ng maayos, yung mapili natin kung sino ang magandang manunungkulan sa atin.
Your motherland is counting on you. Every vote counts wherever you are. Reporting for the special midterm elections, I am Kathleen Cruz, 1 with 25.
Mr. Reynald Duerme, a 35-year-old OFW in Dubai working in sales and marketing, cast his first-time vote as an absentee voter. He was the last OFW to cast his vote at the Philippine Consulate in Dubai precinct. Here's more.
Nasaan si Madam Sumia? Madam Sumia ha, may last vote tayo. Oh, wala.
Sir, baka kayo sa talikod. Pangalan ng last vote. Kain mo na.
Alam ka mo, slow.
Yes!
All right, so first time absentee voter and the last one to vote there in Dubai precinct, Mr. Reynaldo Duerme. Is that right? Okay. And so with that, that was our last but not least item for this hour. This hour.
Continue.
Yes, we will continue. Yes.
With another set of anchors.
That's true.
And of course, thank you. And thank you, by the way.
Thank you.
Alam mo, natutuwa lang ako.
Natutuwa
lang ako dahil sa yung reach talaga ng Eagle Broadcasting Corporation.
Yung coverage,
talagang kino-cover natin.
Yes.
Yung I was asking her, there are 7 continents.
Wow.
Isa na lang ang hindi natin na-cover, Antarctica, dahil yellow nandun eh.
Pero pupunta ka doon, di ba? Magko-cover ka ng climate change.
So we'll see.
Next election, i-cover natin.
Di ba? So, maraming salamat for joining us tonight, and we hope to continue to watch us. This is Don Orozco.
I'm Alma Angeles, and
I'm Sam Cepeda.
And
we're 1 with
25.